So every time there's an oil crisis, the same sequence of events plays out. Oil spikes, the market drops, gas prices climb, financial media goes wall-to-wall coverage, and investors, they start making the same mistakes that they've made every single oil shock in modern day history. They panic out of high quality positions, they chase energy stocks near the top, they rotate based on fear, not fundamentals, and almost every time they end up with the worst of both worlds. Here's what I want to show you today. Why that pattern, it keeps repeating, and what it means for an option seller specifically, and how I think about using moments exactly like the one we're in right now to generate premium on businesses I'd actually want to be owning anyway. So let me walk you through the historical pattern because it's remarkably consistent. In 1973, the OPEC oil embargo caused crude prices to nearly quadruple. The S&P 500 fell roughly 45% over the following year. The companies that got hit the hardest weren't even particularly exposed to oil. They were the ones that had been leading the market going into the crisis. Fear became the trigger for a repricing that was already overdue anyway. The businesses with real earnings, a durable competitive positions, they eventually recovered, right? The speculative ones, they didn't, right? In 1990, the Gulf War, oil surged from 17 to 45 a barrel. The S&P dropped about 20% in 3 months. Investors flooded into energy stocks at the top. When the conflict resolved and supply normalized, oil dropped hard. The investors who chased energy at the peak gave back most of those gains. The ones who used fear, right, the fear environment to buy high quality businesses at discounted prices, they fared much better over the following years, I think you'd agree. 2022, Russia invades Ukraine. Oil runs from 80 to over 115. Energy stocks have a historic year, and every financial commentator told you to own energy, avoid tech. Then 2023 arrived. Energy dramatically underperformed. Tech recovered sharply. Investors who made the obvious trade near the peak of fear ended up experiencing the worst of both worlds. They sold quality at the bottom and bought energy near the top. The pattern is consistent across 50 years of data, okay? The trade that feels most obvious at the peak of an oil crisis tends to be the worst one. The opportunity tends to be in the quality businesses whose stock prices fell not because of their fundamentals have changed, but because of the macro fear is indiscriminate, right? So here's the framework I use in moments like the one we're in right now, and it's directly connected to how I run the wheel strategy. So when markets sell off on macro fear, implied volatility, it spikes across the board. The VIX, it goes up. Options premiums expand. The market is essentially paying more for protection and paying for uncertainty. For a put buyer, that's a problem. For a put seller, that's an opportunity. Cash secured puts are a mechanism for expressing a view that a quality stock has been oversold, right? You're not predicting the exact bottom. You're identifying a price below the current market where you would be comfortable owning the business, and you're getting paid a premium upfront to wait for that price. The wider the fear, the richer the premiums. This is why I don't dread volatility events like the oil crisis. I watch for them, not to speculate on direction, but to identify quality businesses that have been caught up, in an indiscriminate selling and run the math on whether the current pricing creates a favorable setup for selling puts on. The key discipline, price matters. A quality business at the wrong price isn't an opportunity. You have to do the work to understand what the business is actually worth, and then identify strike prices that represent genuine value, not just lower than where the stock is trading at today. So that discipline is what separates the systematic option selling from speculators. And it's exactly what I want to show you how to build, including the actual calculators and the trade lock templates that I literally use in every one of my positions. So if you want access to those free tools, the link in the description will take you to something called our Ark Options Strategy workshop, completely free to attend, literally amazing mechanics, no income claims. So now let's get back into the specific analysis of things. The global dimension that most people are missing, right, is key. Because before I get into specific setups, I want to flag something about the current oil situation that I think is being significantly underestimated. Most of the conversation focuses on domestic impact, gas prices, inflation, Fed policy. That's real, but the US is actually in a relatively resilient position when it comes to oil supply. We're one of the world's largest producers. We have significant strategic reserves. We have, a capacity that can respond to price signals, right? The countries that are like genuinely exposed are our major trading partners, right? China imports approximately 75% of the oil it consumes, right? A meaningful disruption supply routes hits the Chinese economy way harder, right? Slower manufacturing, higher input costs, contracting growth. And China is not just a geopolitical abstraction. It's the world's literally the second largest economy and a massive buyer of American goods, technology, and obviously financial assets. Japan imports close to 90% of its energy. South Korea is in a similar position. India, one of the fastest growing consumer markets in the world, is also heavily dependent on Gulf supply routes. So here's the implication for your portfolio. If a supply shock slows these economies simultaneously, demand for semiconductors is going to drop. Demand for industrial machinery is going to drop. Demand for software and services is going to drop. American companies with significant international revenue feel that in their earnings, and that impact can arrive with a 2 to 4 quarter lag long after the oil headlines have moved on. So this matters for which businesses you're comfortable owning through, let's say, a cash secured put assignment. Companies with pricing power, reoccurring subscription revenue, and limited direct exposure to energy costs are way more durable in this environment than companies, dependent on global manufacturing cycles or discretionary consumer spending, right? Especially in these affected markets. So what are indiscriminate selling? So when macro fear hits, the market doesn't surgically sell the companies actually affected by oil price, right? It literally sells everything, right? High quality software businesses, healthcare companies, consumer staples, dividend compounders, they all drop alongside the energy sensitive names, not because anything, nothing changed about their business, but because panic is not analytical. That selling creates temporary mispricings in businesses whose fundamentals are entirely intact. That's what you're looking for, right? The checklist that I run on any business before I start selling cash secured puts on in this environment is, one, does this business have a real reoccurring revenue, right? Subscription models, long-term contracts, sticky customer relationship, right? Revenue that doesn't just evaporate when macroeconomic conditions shift on them, right? Number 2, is the competitive position still durable, right? High switching costs, network effects, or brand loyalty, that makes the customer base stable regardless of what oil prices are actually doing. 3, are the margins real, right? High gross margin businesses, particularly software, healthcare, consumer staples, they can sustain profitability through supply chain disruptions that literally destroy margin in lower margin industries. Number 4, is the valuation reasonable at the strike price that I'm considering? This is where most people skip the work. I personally want to understand what I think the business is worth on a normalized earnings basis, not just that the stock is down 15% from recent highs. For example, let's take quality software under pressure. So let me be concrete without making a specific recommendation here, okay? Consider a business like an enterprise CRM for a cloud infrastructure software. These companies, they generate revenue through multi-year subscription contracts, right? They're customers, Fortune 500 companies, healthcare systems, financial institutions, they don't cancel a software platform because crude oil went up $30 a barrel, right? The switching costs are way too high for them. The workflows are way too embedded in the businesses. Yet these stocks have been sold off meaningfully in current environments, not because that their earnings, outlook deteriorated, right? Because the macro fear is broad and the names that led the market higher have the most room to fall especially when sentiment finally reverses. For option sellers like us, the question is simple. At what price below the current market would I be comfortable owning this business? What does the implied volatility on the put chain actually look like at the strike? And does the premium justify the capital that I need to set aside as collateral? In elevated volatility environments, you can often find, put setups that offer meaningful premium at strikes 10 to 15% below the current price on good quality names. You're being paid to wait at a price that already represents a discount to a discounted stock. That's the setup. The covered call layer follows naturally if you're assigned. Now you own a quality business at a price that you already decided made sense for you, and you sell calls on top of it to generate additional income while you wait for the stock to eventually, hopefully, recover towards its intrinsic value. That's the wheel strategy. That's the Ark Options strategy. And macro fear is when it tends to generate the best best setups, right? The bigger lesson from every oil crisis is this: the investors who build disciplined processes in advance, who know, what they're willing to own and at what price before the fear arrives, are the ones who are positioned to act when others are paralyzed, okay? The investors who improvise in real time, who make decisions based on what the headlines are saying today, they consistently end up chasing the obvious trade near the peak and literally abandoning quality at the trough. Right? The oil crisis does change what a great business is worth. It changes the price at which the market is, temporarily willing to sell it to you. That's the distinction. Price and value are not the same thing, and the gap between them, which is always widest, right, at moments of maximum fear, right, is where systematic option sellers and income investors find their best work. There's also a risk dimension worth, naming honestly, right? Elevated volatility means elevated premium, but it also means elevated uncertainty. Positions can move against you really, really quickly. Strike selection matters more in volatile environments, not less. The margin of safety in your strike price is your protection, not your confidence about where the stock is going. The discipline is in the process, right? Know that what the business is worth. Size positions appropriately. Don't let the premium chase you into strikes you wouldn't be comfortable defending. So here's how I'm personally navigating, this environment. Look, I'm not rotating into energy stock. I'm not making, macro predictions about where oil is headed. I'm doing what I literally do every day and every week. I run the wheel strategy on good quality businesses that I'd want to own at prices I've already determined represent fair value or better. What changes is the elevated volatility. The premium is richer, so I'm more selective, a lot more selective about which names I run puts on, and I'm way more conservative about my strike selection. I'd rather collect honestly slightly less premium at a strike that gives me real downside cushion than stretch for a higher payout at a strike that leaves me exposed if the sell-off continues. The global ripple effects I talked about, China, Japan, South Korea, India, are on my radar as well. I'm more cautious about companies whose earnings are heavily dependent on those regions right now, right? I'm also more comfortable with businesses that, they actually generate most of their revenue domestically or through long-term contracts that are, insulated from these quarter to quarter, macro swings that we're seeing so much. This isn't a dramatic strategy shift. It's a minor tightening of the existing process that we talk about here. And that's what I want you to take away. Volatility events like this don't require you to overhaul your approach. They require you to apply your existing strategy or process with more care. So if you want to see the exact tools I use, the position sizing calculators, the strike selection frameworks, the trade lock templates I use every single day, come attend the Ark Options workshop. The link for it will be down below in the description. It's free and you can walk away with the actual mechanics, not just the concepts. So here's the summary. Oil crisis follows a consistent pattern across 50 years of market history. Fear spikes, indiscriminate selling hits, quality businesses, literally that have no real connection to oil prices, in my opinion. Investors make the obvious trade near the top. They miss out on the real opportunity, which is always in good quality names, caught in the selling for the wrong reasons, okay? Now for option sellers, elevated volatility is a feature, not a bug. Richer premiums, right? Better setups, more opportunities to sell puts on good quality businesses at prices that already represent a meaningful discount, right? The discipline is the same as always. Know what you want to own, know what you'd pay for it, and let the market bring it to you. So I got 2 questions for the comments. 1, when volatility spikes like this, is your first instinct to pull back, or do you see it as a setup? I'm curious where most of you actually land. And number 2, are there specific quality names that you've been watching that have been caught in this, macro sell-off? Drop the tickers down below. Let's have a conversation about it. And while you're down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you want to see more practical, process-driven content just like this that's useful to you. No hype, no promises, just real mechanics of building an income through selling options. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, guys, and I will see you tomorrow.